This is the Pro Football Report presented by BCWSA, a weekly recap of your Eagles and news around the NFL. Broadcasting live from Chickies and Pete's. Tonight's show is brought to you by Rob's Automotive and Collision, BCWSA, Chickies and Pete's, Begley, Carlin and Mandio Law Firm, Penworth Financial Services, Penn Community Bank, The Capitol Grill, and Ventresca's LTD. We now go live to Chickies and Pete's for the Pro Football Report, presented by BCWSA. Now, here are your hosts from Inside the Birds, Adam Caplan and Andrew DiCecco.
Hello, everyone. You're listening to the Pro Football Report, presented by BCWSA, right here on 1490 WBCB and 107.3 FM, and also seen live at WBCBSports.com. It's Adam Caplan. It's Andrew DiCecco from Inside the Birds. Our show tonight is produced on site here at Chickie Pizza in Marlton, New Jersey, by the way. What a scene, Andrew. And it's produced by Gus Barber. And Andrew, here we are at Chickie Pizza in Marlton, New Jersey. This is like a superstore, this place. It's huge.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, this is one of my favorites.
How are you? So, Andrew, one thing, and let's get to you immediately, because this Cowboys loss, I've seen some crazy losses in my career for this football team. Let's get right to your initial thoughts on this game.
Yeah, I mean, it was a game in which they got off to a fast start offensively, and then what happened after that was you started to see a lot of penalties. Eagles had 14 penalties for 96 yards. They weren't able to execute.
Crazy.
And I think that's been something that's been a prevailing theme throughout the season, and it hasn't caught up to them until Sunday afternoon. And that's something that A.J. Brown was trying to alert them to, like trying to get away from some of that so that it doesn't come back and haunt them down the line.
It's crazy because they actually had 15 penalties. One was offset. Okay, the Cowboys had an offsetting penalty. 14 accepted penalties is embarrassing. For a team as good as the Eagles, that can't happen. And they divided on offense and defense. Fred Johnson had, 3 penalties, I think?
Yeah, there were even at least two on special teams.
Oh, they actually had 3. And how about this one? Back-to-back penalties from, I don't have it in front of me. I know A.J. Brown had the second one. And A.J. talked about it. He's like, he knows he can't do that.
Devontae had one as well.
Yeah, thank you. That can't happen. It's just surprising to me. And this is not the first game, Andrew. They've had penalty problems. And I know Sirianni is going to take responsibility, and it is true in coaching. If it's happening, you're allowing it. There's something you're not doing right. Nick's a fantastic coach, but this cannot happen when you're up 21-0. And here's the other thing, Andrew. So they're moving the ball in the second half. 4 drives were stalled by penalty. Like, people are killing Patullo. There are plenty of times you can get on Kevin Patullo. What you could say, I know the fans can't, they latch on to coaches they can't stand.
Yeah.
You know how it is. So you've lived your whole life in this area.
Yeah.
So go ahead, Andrew. Your thoughts on all this.
So I think, I agree 100% with what you said. I think a lot of the vitriol sent in the direction of Kevin Patullo's largely overblown. Now, he is a culprit, but I've always said this, and I maintain this, Adam. It is a collective as to why there are shortcomings for this Eagles offense. But something that I don't agree with, and I think it's sort of a theme that I see out there after that game, and that it was that the Eagles were conservative after they got out to the 21-point lead. Look, coming out of the half, they had the 8-yard completion to Grant Calcaterra, then a really nice play to Dallas Goedert. I believe it may have been play action if I'm remembering it correctly. Illegal, yeah.
Crazy.
It was Matt Pryor was covered up. I think it was Devontae Smith. You look at the play before Saquon Barkley fumbled. It was a 16-yard completion to Devontae Smith. Fred Johnson gets called for hands to the face.
Got him up in his neck. Come on, Fred. You're a veteran. He's a vested veteran, by the way.
So I look at that second half, Adam, and they were pushing the ball down the field. They weren't able to connect due to execution lapses. And this has been something that you look at all the games this season. They've had spurts where they play a good half. But you more or less see them fall victim to executional miscues, and I think that, to me, has been the big takeaway coming off that game.
All right, now, my one issue, and you're able to see Greg Cosell's notes. We send them to you. It's funny because we explained this and you'll see this, actually, no, it hit today, the inside the tape with Greg Cosell, folks, if you've not seen it. And this is why coaching tape matters, and that's the same tape that the coaches use. I thought the offensive line played well. Well, not as well as I thought, because Greg's notes, they had problems in pass protection, way worse than I expected. And I knew the run blocking was not good. This is just one of these things you can't know, Andrew. You were at training camp.
Yeah.
Okay? Be honest. What were your thoughts of this offensive line overall coming into the season?
I mean, I had high expectations, just like I'm sure most did. And I go back to something that I said, Adam, that I think really rings true, especially now. A lot was made about the season that Saquon Barkley had, the 482 touches if you're including the postseason, but not enough was made about how that kind of style of play would affect the offensive line, that kind of attrition. And you saw that manifest early in the season, whether it was Landon Dickerson. He had a multitude of injuries. I think the back injury was the one that was going into the first week. Jordan Mailata has struggled, and Cam Jurgens had the offseason back surgery. Tyler Steen's been fine. Lane Johnson had a couple of injuries this season, and now he's out with the Lisfranc. Frank. So, I mean, it's not really a surprise when there's going to be a drop-off when you have a future Hall of Fame right tackle in Lane Johnson who's the best at what he does, and then you replace him with Fred Johnson. It's not always going to be as seamless as what some on the outside maybe perceive it to be. And so I saw a lot of shortcomings from the offensive line in the game, and normally, I will say this, in pass protection, they have been relatively sound.
Yeah, very good.
But in this game, not only were they deficient in run blocking, but also in pass protection.
I was surprised. Yeah, and Hurts had a solid game. I know Greg had a couple criticisms, but he's not looking at it from TV copy, like us at home. You know, I asked him off camera. He said, yeah, he did play well, but you need to see these things better. His job is, coaches will tell you, Andrew, when you grade tape, they have the numbers, but they have the tape. And pass placement hurts the pass behind Brown. Brown made a good catch, made a good
yards after a catch is what you're getting at.
Yeah, exactly. This has been a constant issue with people around the league have told me. You got to put the ball out there for him to go get the football. He made an unbelievable anticipation throw, which is in Greg's notes. And that's actually a sign of growth. That means you're understanding pre-snap what you're looking at and post-snap where the ball's got to go. It's actually really good.
Yeah.
But he had a solid game. But the offensive line, Andrew, it's...
Well, we should also say, while you're on that point of Hurts,
go ahead, man.
You can't take that 13-yard sack on 3rd and 2 that pretty much ended the game.
That's embarrassing.
You can't do that.
Great point, Andrew.
You got to throw the football away, and you shouldn't be dropping back that far back. I mean... You can't put
better awareness, right?
Yeah.
It's situational awareness. Now, here's what I did like. I don't yell, but I've been imploring them, could you get Hurts off to a better start? Get him comfortable and accurate, short area passes. As John D. Filippo told me last week, I called Coach Flip, Super Bowl winner with the Eagles in 17. I said, hey, how do you help a quarterback get comfortable? This is a great line, he said. I want the quarterback to see my pass target get the ball and catch it and feel good that he completed the pass. That's what Kevin Batula, of the things he struggled with, this is his 5th year. He knows what Hurts' shortcomings are.
Yeah.
When your quarterback is struggling to see the field correctly and to not go where the ball's supposed to go, and you want him to put the ball where it's supposed to go, get him accurate, get him comfortable. And he did that. First 2 plays, 12 personnel, boom, boom. Hurts got off to a great start. They did. And that's coaching, and he's got to do a better job of that.
Yeah, what you're allowing your quarterback to do is get into a rhythm. And
that's it. That's the line.
And I think too often the Eagles have gotten away from that to start games, and it often leads to erratic play in the passing game. To me, Dallas Goedert would be the prime example of someone who can be that safety valve. You can do a lot of different things with them, and those short completions over the middle,
the flat one too,
should be able to really help jumpstart the offense. And I thought that Kevin Patullo to start the game had a really, really sound plan of attack. Now, there's a number of reasons why things fell by the wayside.
Penalties.
But I think if you're looking for a silver lining, encouraging signs, is that there were plays to be made in the second half. They just did not capitalize on them due to no fault of their own.
That is the voice of Andrew DiCecco from Inside the Birds. I'm Adam Caplan. You're listening to the Pro Football Report, live here at Chicky and Pete's in Marlton, New Jersey. It's my first time here. This place is huge. I'm blown away by it. Pete Shiraki's outdone himself with this place. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Pretty awesome.
Yeah, it is.
So what do you have today, by the way? What do you have for dinner tonight?
Here we have the lobster cheesesteak, which is becoming a staple of mine the last few weeks.
Nice.
And it's delicious. If you haven't tried it, I highly encourage it.
As a vegetarian, I ordered the tomato pie with no cheese. Their tomato pie is fantastic.
It is.
I highly, highly recommend it. All right, so offensively, I like your points about Goddard. He had at least 2 plays called back due to penalty, which is ridiculous because him and Hurts, you know it, and you and I were there. We were talking about it. The chemistry they had was real. Goddard's got, 7 touchdowns, but he could be doing so much more.
Yeah, I think that he warrants more volume. When you see what he's able to do, he's been producing. I think he, in many ways, and I go back to what I was just saying, being that safety valve, there's a comfort level there. There's a trust there in Jalen Hurts with Dallas Goedert. And I'm actually surprised. We look at the touchdowns, but if you look at the receptions and the targets, I think that he's being even underutilized.
I agree.
So I'm curious to see if they're able to take advantage, and I don't want to get too far ahead, but the Bears are awfully banged up at linebacker. This could be a Dallas Goedert game.
Yep, good point. And we'll get to the We'll get to the match later in the second segment. But so offensively, that's that. Defensively, Andrew, it's really interesting. Other than the drive that they scored late, their defense was fantastic. I know that the Eagles dominated the game. They only gave up 1 explosive run in the first half, 7 in the second half.
Yeah.
Now, part of it is when Ojomo got hurt. More Ojomo came back from that arm or wrist injury.
He came back, yeah.
He came back. Explosive runs by coaching is 5 yards or more. That's explosive run. So they got to tighten that up. But overall, let's get your thoughts on the defense.
You know, actually, I just wrote about this on InsideTheBirds.com,
Awesome.
some of my takeaways from Vic Fangio.
Yeah.
This is where numbers can be deceiving, right? Because you look at 473 total net yards that they gave up, and you may think, well, that's a faulty performance by the defense. But without context, I think
context is king. Eric Bischoff.
Context is king. So
I feel like wrestling.
I look at inside the 5-yard line, Reed Blankenship picks off Dak Prescott.
Amazing play, by the
Xavier
way.
Gibson later in the game fields the ball at the 2-yard line, fumbles the football. The Cowboys get the ball back at the 8-yard line, and it looked like they were going to go in for the go-ahead touchdown at that moment. And that didn't happen because the Eagles held them out on 4 downs, and I think that underscores that bend but don't break. They gave up 24 points. I mean, I think that should be able to help you win most games. And, outside of some Javonte Williams runs, and I thought they did a good job stopping the run. He had 87 yards on 20 carries. And then sometimes you have to tip your cap to the other player. George Pickens
He killed them.
was phenomenal and has been phenomenal, but high-pointing the football, attacking the catch point, those are all things that exceptional players do, and he gave even Cooper DeJean fits.
All right, a couple of things on DeJean. I think what happened was, and I understand that, in base he plays corner, but it's the sudden change that he's got to change his mind. Okay, where am I lining up? Okay, I might be lining up at corner the rest of the game. He struggled. He gave up 3 big plays, and quite frankly, he had another penalty.
Yeah.
Clearly did. That hurt them. There's no question about it.
That could have went either way, honestly. There was hand fighting on both sides. Initially, I thought he grabbed them, but it also looked
like this.
But it also looked like CD pushed off as well.
Initially, yes.
So yeah, I mean they're gonna give that to the receiver every time if it's close.
What happened is, okay, Blankenship gets hurt. Major, he sets everything up in the back end, okay? Sidney Brown, look, he's just a backup. Okay, he's not been what the Eagles thought. Tearing his ACL 2 years ago and against the Giants, I believe.
I think it was a meniscus. I don't.
Whatever it was a major knee injury. He's never been the same. Not physically, mentally. Makes a lot of mistakes. You know about all the special teams penalties. I know he's very good in specials. Hit another special teams penalty, by the way. He's a below-average coverage player. He's just not very good in coverage. He never was at Illinois. He was a box safety. He was a tone setter. That doesn't work here. You got to be able to cover in the National Football League. This is 1980s or 1990s football. You got to be able to cover. He's a problem. Before we take this quick break, tell us about Andre Sam.
Yeah, Andre Sam is in his second year with the Eagles. He was on the practice squad for the entirety of last season. He's one of the few players who have been on the practice squad all season long. The Eagles really like him. He went to a number of different colleges, McNeese State, Marshall, finished at LSU, where I think he was their defensive player of the year for LSU. And he was a highly coveted rookie free agent last summer. 2 summers ago. And he's a big hitter. He's shown signs of promise in coverage, and he actually was active for 1 game last season against the Carolina Panthers, and he played largely on special teams. But, I mean, when they were parsing down their roster, I gave some considerable thought to putting Andre Sam on as my final safety. They went with Tristan McComb, but it was that close where I thought he performed well enough and made enough of a leap in year 2. So we'll see. It's likely he's going to have to be elevated here.
Not only that, he might be starting, depending on Blankenship. Now,
Michael Carter.
Right, but here's the problem. If Coop's playing corner, which I think is almost certain, you would really want Michael Carter as a nickel?
Yeah.
Well, tell me, who else can play nickel?
Well, it all depends on what Vic Fangio deems to be the best combination going into that game against that particular matchup. And the Bears are deep at wide receiver.
But it also depends who's available.
Yeah, but it sounds like Reed Blankenship's going to play. He said he expects Reed Blankenship to play.
If he does, who starts next to Blankenship?
Sidney Brown,
which is what we thought.
He confirmed that today.
Okay.
And
to me, it's Carter, and it's got to be Carter at nickel and DeJean at corner. It has to be. That's by far, to me. What else could Jacorian Bennett? No confidence in. We know about Ringo. He got a penalty to 6 snaps.
Yeah.
It's kind of obvious.
Yeah, we should also mention that Dory Jackson suffered a head injury in the game. And that's why this is even a conversation.
Right.
Would be his second concussion
this season.
And
by the way, we'll get to the injury updates next segment, Andrew, and there are a lot for both teams. All right, folks, you're listening to the Pro Football Report presented by BCWSA right here on 1490 WBCB and 107.3 FM, and also seen live at WBCBsports.com. We're at Chicken Pizza Marlton. Join us, folks, if you can. We'll be right back.
Hi, it's Pete from Chicky and Pete's. If you have a large party of 10, 20, even 50 people, we can't wait to treat you like family at Chicky and Pete's. Forget about deposits or credit card reservations. Making a reservation for your large group is effortless at Chickies and Pete's. Lots of options to celebrate and make your night out unforgettable. Order off the menu or select from food and drink packages, private party rooms available. Make your reservations right now at chickiesandpete's.com. And don't forget, Chicky and Pete's gift cards are the perfect fit for any occasion. Only at Chickies and Pete's.
Your day-to-day life is hectic between having to pick up the kids, make dinner, the countless other tasks that you got to get done. Rob's Automotive and Collision is there to make your life a whole lot easier. Make sure you take advantage of their spacious waiting rooms, the large flat-screen TVs, complimentary coffee and muffins, and free Wi-Fi. So even when you do have to stop, Rob's is there to make you feel right at home. Give Rob's a call today at 215-826-9200 for any of your auto repair needs.
Hey BCWSA customers, this is Tommy Green from the 1993 National League champion Phillies. My friends at BCWSA are committed to providing us with safe, reliable water and sewer services. They operate state-of-the-art treatment facilities, provide clean drinking water, and make much-needed investments to protect our environment and ensure a sustainable future. Learn how BCWSA's investments help grow and serve our communities. Visit bcwsa.net. BCWSA, prove it.
We now return to Chickies and Pete's for the Pro Football Report presented by BCWSA. Once again, here are your hosts from Inside the Birds, Adam Caplan and Andrew DiCecco.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Pro Football Report presented by BCWSA right here on 1490 WBCB and 107.3 FM. And also seen live at WBCBsports.com. It's Adam Caplan and Andrew DiCecco from Inside the Birds, Andrew. And right now it's time for this week's injury review brought to you by the attorneys at Begley, Carlin, and Mandio. Contact them today for a free consultation at 215-806-3689. That's 215-806-3689 for the attorneys at Begley, Carlin, and Mandio. All right, Andrew. Wow, okay, let's get to the Eagles because there are a lot of injuries for both teams. Eagles leading into the last week's game were one of the healthiest teams in the National Football League.
Yep.
Oops, not anymore, Andrew. Offensively, we know Lane Johnson's out with the Lisfranc sprain, okay? So their hope is somehow by the end of the season he's ready to go. And we know that Fred Johnson is his backup, right? So we know that. Let's get to defense. Moro Jomo.
Also, Xavier Gibson got hurt in the game.
Oh, yeah, he hurt. Was it a shoulder?
Yeah, apparently he was in a sling.
Okay. Okay.
I wasn't there, but that's what I heard.
Let me ask you a question. You've covered Britton Covey since his rookie season. We know how great he was as a returner in 22. We know he's recovered. I know he's talked about the neck issue.
Yeah.
Remember, I talked to someone close to him who said he's perfectly healthy. Why do you think who else could, other than Britton Covey, let's talk, if Gibson's out, which seems logical, who else besides Covey?
Jahan Dotson.
He's fair catching.
Right, but it then comes down to roster spots, right? You may need to have multiple defensive backs elevated depending on the situation.
True.
And that alters the way that you go about it. And Jahan Dotson's been sure-handed. He
doesn't drop it.
He's caught a bunch of
fair
punts.
catches. Yeah.
And I think there's a comfort level there. He doesn't have the juice or the shiftiness that Gibson or even Covey to a degree has in short area. But I think that's the way that they would lean. You already have him on the roster, Jahan Dotson.
All right, let's get to the defense. We talked about Moro Jomo with a hand injury. He came back. We'll see if they list him on the injury report, which will come out later tonight, by the way. They're having a walkthrough right now.
Walkthrough at 5:15. Yeah.
Wow, that's an odd one. All right, so defensively, so we mentioned Ojomo with the hand injury. The good thing is he came back. All right, so the big one is Drew Makuba. Their hope is somehow, some way, he can come back for the playoffs. It's a broken right ankle. That's a minimum of 6 to 8 weeks. So we know he's out for at least the regular season. Reed Blankenship, left thigh injury, which will either show up as thigh or hamstring. Jory Jackson, who you mentioned before, we know it's at least a head injury. Probable concussion. He didn't come back.
Because they never said if he was, he just didn't come back. So one could presume.
It's a head injury. We just know that. Right. I always write head until they confirm it to the injury report. So, all right, we just outlined before the break. They have a lot of combinations. It depends on who's available. If Blankenship's available, it's Blankenship and C.D. Brown, obviously. Now, cornerback, to me, again, it's just so obvious. I know Coop struggled, but now he gets to have the ones during the week.
Well, here's the other part. You're
right.
right.
Go ahead.
You're right.
Go
but
ahead.
they only have a walkthrough today and a practice tomorrow.
And by the way, it's not a real practice. It's a. John D. Filippo told me you're on a short week. There are no real practices. They're about an hour. It's more like a jog through because you can't go have an intense practice when you're not having a normal practice week. I said, bring me through. He goes, when you have a Thursday game, it's literally a walkthrough.
Yep.
Because you just played on Sunday. So you're playing one day later than a Thursday game, but it's just not a normal week. And you got to get bodies recharged. But mentally, it's more classroom work. So whatever they call practice is going to be short. And the bottom line is, mentally, they got to get themselves back. And I think it's actually a good thing that it's a short week based on what just happened.
Yeah, I agree. It's at home. Black Friday. The Eagles are wearing their all-black uniforms, cool. So, it might provide a little bit of a jolt to the crowd. And 2 8-3 teams, but you don't have a chance to really dwell on what just happened. You have to look forward. You can't really look back. And so I think that you're going to see, and I'm curious tomorrow when I speak to some players in the locker room, what the temperature is and how they're feeling about this game on Friday. But I can kind of just tell you from being there every day, the mindset is always looking to the opposition, regardless of who it is, not making it bigger than what it is, and trying to go 1-0 every week. Nick Sirianni has done a really good job of keeping his team focused on the task at hand.
Andrew, you mentioned the temperature, and I hate to bring it up because you know how obsessed I am with weather.
It's going to be windy.
I can't believe this. I was hoping because, and I know both quarterbacks have strong arms, gusts throughout the game 28 through 32 miles an hour.
Oh.
40 degrees. The cold doesn't. You could throw in 20-degree weather as long as it's not windy. And from being in the link, you never know what the crosswinds are like. And talking to two people who are on the field for the Packer game, it was bad. And you saw, the Lion game was much worse. Jared Goff doesn't have a strong arm. Hurts does. When you can't throw with power in the wind, you're in trouble. And you were at that game. What were the conditions like for you? I mean, I know you walked in. I know you were in the booth.
Yeah.
You're in the super box or the press box. But What did you think of the conditions for that Detroit game?
Well, I mean, the wind kind of ushered me across the parking lot, and I'm not a
Did you
small
blow
guy.
it?
I'm not a small guy.
I didn't hear about this. What happened?
No, I mean, I'm just exaggerating, but it was very windy.
Okay.
And
Okay.
the wind sort of dissipated a little bit by kickoff. But I even talked to a couple of different players, and they said the wind didn't really impact them. Now, I was
Throwing did. Yeah.
Throwing,
Yeah.
it did, but I was talking more to like a punt returner.
Okay, cool.
And how the wind didn't really alter it too
Okay.
bad. But from a passing perspective, there were many times where you could even see it for Jared Goff because he doesn't have a particularly strong arm. That it would yes,
Ball
it
moved.
altered its trajectory. And for Jalen, there are throws. He throws with some zip, but there are throws that he normally makes that were affected by the
I did see a couple, correct.
elements.
All right, let's get to the Bears. Roshan Johnson is on IR. He's their number 3 back. Kyle Monungai, the 7th-round running back from Rutgers. You were at that pro day.
Yes,
Were you
I
not?
was.
Tell
Yes,
us about him.
In fact, there was 3 players on the Bears that I was at their pro day: Jaquan Brisker, Ruben Hypolite, and Kyle Monungai. So Kyle Monungai is a compact runner. In fact, his brother Kevin, back in I think it was the
remember.
Chip Kelly era, he went to Villanova. He was a rookie free agent, and Kyle I asked him about it. He goes, "Yeah, I remember watching my brother play at the Link. I was like 13 years old."
Wow.
But he's a compact runner. Kind of reminds me a little bit of Doug Martin, the late Doug Martin. In the way that he runs with power. He has some juice, and he's more of an inside type of runner. And he complements DeAndre Swift. So it's kind of like a slash and dash type of a situation that they have there in their backfield. But I was very impressed with Kyle, and I actually had a 5th-round grade on him because, I mean, he just had a tremendous pro day. Caught the ball really well, ran some good routes, and we know that he can run. So I think he's starting to come on a little bit.
Other than that, they're perfectly healthy. Defensively, they're not. All right, Dayo Dengbo, one of their starting edges, is out for the season toward Achilles. At linebacker, you mentioned before the break, Tremaine Edmonds out, their best linebacker, one of the highest-paid inside backers in the National Football League. With a groin injury, just went on IR last week. T.J. Edwards, he's missed 6 games this season with hamstring and now the hand injury.
They didn't put him on IR, right?
No, but he's missed 3 games. They're on a short week. See what the injury report says. And Noah Sewell, who's been their top backup linebacker, he missed last week with an elbow injury, then a short week. Hypolite got hurt. He has a shoulder injury.
He had just a fantastic pro day. I think he helped his stock. Went in the 4th round.
4th round, yeah. So they went with Hypolite and Jackson, a linebacker they claimed off waivers. They're down to 1 healthy linebacker behind those guys on their 53-man roster.
Carl Jones, right?
Yep,
Yeah.
they're in trouble. This helps, obviously, the Eagles. You mentioned a great point. Goddard down the seam. And we'll see who's healthy. We'll learn later tonight. And then in the secondary, now, this is interesting. Jalen Johnson, who Jeff and I actually interviewed
I got
6
you
years ago.
Yeah, I got you guys in touch with him. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, Doug Henderson was his agent. I think he might still be. He has a groin injury. He had a calf injury earlier. He's only played 2 games this season.
Phenomenal corner when healthy.
He's had major shoulder problems in college. He started practicing week 11. He's been designated for return, so he's close. Kyler Gordon, their nickel, who C.J. Gardner-Johnson's filling in for. C.J.'s done it. This guy is such a good football player. If he could just keep his mouth shut, he might actually find a home here. He's a really good football player. Kyler Gordon started practicing week 12 last week. He's had hamstring, groin, and calf injuries. Now, the great story is this Nahshon Wright,
Yes.
who nobody wanted. Dallas didn't want him. The Vikings didn't want him. One of the tallest corners in the National Football League, Andrew, 6'4". He's done a great job.
I liked him at Oregon State. I followed his career because he was actually on the Netflix special Last Chance U.
I didn't know that.
He went to
Okay.
Laney College.
Good call, man.
And I sort of followed his career going from there. And this is just a tall corner. He's physical, and you like the length there where he can kind of narrow and throwing windows and battle on those contested catches.
And one more thing, a guy who might be starting, former Charger linebacker, Amen Agbanbamiga.
Very well done.
Okay? Actually, I had my voice coach teach me. But Agbanbamiga, I don't want to say that 5 times, he actually may have to start. So they don't know yet who's going to be starting at linebacker. But that is this. I'm out of breath with all these injuries, man. That is this week's injury review brought to you by the attorneys at Begley, Carlin, and Mandio. Contact them today for a free consultation at 215-806-3689. It's 215-806-3689. Up next, the keys to the Eagles beating the visiting Bears. You're listening to the Pro Football Report on WBCB. We'll be right back. It's Adam Caplan and Andrew DiCecco. We'll see you in the next break.
Hi, it's Pete from Chicky and Pete's, the official sports bar of your world champion Philadelphia Eagles. Go where the players go. Come join us all season for Eagles pep rallies, watch parties, and the best in-game experience anywhere. Ice cold draft beer, world famous food, and fan-friendly fun for every Eagles game. Every Monday night in South Philly, the Jordan Mailata Show, presented by Miller Lite, followed by Chicky and Pete's Players Lounge with a current player, hosted by Ike Reese and Hugh Douglas. Go where the players go. Chickies and Pete's.
Rob's Automotive and Collision Center in Lower Bucks County is a full-service repair center with competitive prices, top-of-the-line products, and the finest auto body and mechanical repair technicians anywhere. Rob's makes repairing your car easy. Same-day service guaranteed. Whether it's an oil change, state inspection, or a mechanical issue, Rob's will have you in and out and on your way. 2700 Veterans Highway in Bristol, 215-826-9200 for 24-hour emergency towing. Call 215-826-0250.
This is Tommy Green from the 1993 National League champion Phillies. Every champion needs a good game plan. BCWSA and I want to make sure you have a game plan when it comes to conserving our most precious resource, water. Whether you're washing dishes, brushing your teeth, or watering your garden, there are ways you can save water and save money. Visit bcwsa.net for tips on conserving water. BCWSA, proven.
When an Eagles player gets hurt, the team takes care of him. When you get hurt, the attorneys at Begley, Carlin, and Mandio will take care of you. They understand that a severe accident can be a life-altering event. You need a reliable teammate to fight for you. The attorneys at Begley, Carlin, and Mandio will get you great results. And if there's no recovery, there's no fee. Contact them today at 215-750-0110 for a free consultation. 215-750-0110 for a reliable ally that's on your side.
We now return to Chickies and Pete's for the Pro Football Report presented by BCWSA. Once again, here are your hosts from Inside the Birds, Adam Caplan and Andrew DiCecco.
All right, everyone. Welcome back to Chicky and Pete's, by the way, in Marlton, New Jersey. It's the Pro Football Report presented by BCWSA right here on 1490 WBCB, 107.3 FM, and also seen live at WBCBsports.com. It's Adam Caplan and Andrew DiCecco from Inside the Birds. It's now time for this week's Penworth Financial Keys to the Game. The key to your financial future is Penworth Financial. Call them today at 267-997-4503 or visit them at penworth.com. Andrew, Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern on Amazon Prime.
Can't wait.
Eagles hosting the Bears. You'll be in the press box. You know where I used to sit when I'd be in the press box is at the 20-yard line on the right. I was down on the right side. I had that seat from 6:05 to 20:20. Same seat. They hooked me up, man. My man Derek Boyko and my boy Bob Lang took care of me. It's great. Great seat. Where do you sit, by the way?
Far right, first row.
Nice.
Probably around the same area that you sat. It sounds like from your description. Probably it's maybe like the 10.
Sounds 10 or 15. It's been so long. I just, because of our company, I got to be home. It's hard. Because then the funny thing, because the podcast is John McMullen does his pod in there.
Yeah, a lot of people.
Yeah,
a lot of people do their pods.
You know what? It's much better being at home. I do miss going. You see agents in the corridor. There are a lot of guys I like to meet, and just go to Chickies and Pete's in the back room there after the games on Sundays. But hey, I'm glad to be here at Chicky and Pete's in Marlton, New Jersey. So, keys to the game, Andrew. Let's get to the offense. What do they need to do to score points and beat the Bears on offense?
Well, they have to run block more proficiently than they have been, because this is another game on paper that the Bears are susceptible to giving up yards on the ground. And I think that you talk about the weather conditions, the wind is going to be a big factor. So it behooves the Eagles to find a way to jumpstart the running game with Saquon Barkley. And I mean, that is the most logical path to victory in my estimation. And then defensively, I would like to see the pass rush pick up where it left off against the Lions game, because I know the Bears they've done a lot of work on their offensive line, but off the edges, they were very silent against the Cowboys.
And Vic, other than the unbelievable Nakobe Dean sack,
yeah,
this is what I didn't understand him. It could have been, and I know sometimes you have to protect yourself when you're losing 2 starters in the secondary. Maybe that's why he didn't blitz at all. Like, I think he had 6, which is insane. That's because it's funny. Early in the season, he was blitzing a lot. Now it's this game he didn't. Now, when you look at the Bears' defense, other than Montez Sweat, and remember Dayo Dengbo lost for the season with 20 kills. They don't have a very good pass rush. Andrew Billings is one of their D tackles. They're okay at D tackle.
He's sort of a journeyman. He was with the Bengals for a
right.
little bit.
Exactly. This is a very beatable front linebacker-wise. If they're all healthy, great, but they're not. So you don't even know what's going to line up. This is the way I see it, and again, it's secondary. You don't know who's going to be at corner. There's nothing I worry about if I'm Patullo and Sirianni, and Parks Frazier is involved a little bit. To me, if you could protect, and that's a big deal. Now, this is not. The Cowboys have much better depth on the defensive line. If the win holds up, Andrew, there's going to be plays to be made also in the pass game.
Yeah, I think so, especially from a defensive perspective. You should be able to get now, Caleb Williams has a strong arm, but I think depending on how the wind affects the trajectory, if you're an Eagles defensive back or even a linebacker, you might be able to pounce on that. And I want to circle back to something that I said about the pass rush.
Yes.
You have a young quarterback in Caleb Williams. He can capably throw the football, but he's not overly consistent at this stage. He's still young. There's been glimpses of things that make you kind of, raise your eyebrows.
Holds on to the ball sometimes.
But he holds on to the ball, and I think when you think of these conditions and the circumstances, it could, conjure the opportunity to pick off a pass or two.
All right, couple notes. So offensively, when the Eagles have it, and it was great to see A.J. Brown get off that great start. And yes, they had penalties in the second half that crushed their passing game. But even if Jalen Johnson gets hurt, who knows how healthy he'll be? That can't stop you. I know he's really good when he's healthy. Great technician, really good football player. And Tyreek Stevenson on the other side.
Miami,
Right, who can be beat. I'll be interested to see what they do because Nahshon Wright has played really well. He's 6'4" and 1/10 of an inch. Andy.
Yeah, I think he's kind of one of those defensive backs that gets overlooked, and he's a steady player. And I think when you look at his unique dimensions, he doesn't leave a lot of room for error if you're a quarterback, right? He has the length, and he can, really give you a hard time on those contested throws. So yeah, I mean, if you're the Eagles, I think you want to get that early, short to intermediate passing game going and loosen things up a little bit, and then try and pounce and take advantage and play physical bully ball style with Saquon Barkley.
One other thing that I want to see from this offense is, and we don't mention this enough, not that they're the greatest screen team in the world, and I know there have been these play breaks down and Hurts just gets rid of it. Could you bring the screen, and our guy Shipley, we know he's explosive. Could you get him involved in the screen game a little bit? It doesn't have to be third down. There's nothing wrong with letting him fill in a little bit. And let's talk about our guy, Tank Bigsby. Let's see him get involved more, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, Will caught about 50 wheel routes in training camp. He was beating linebackers, safeties. We haven't seen that in the regular season, but he is their most equipped running back in terms of pass catching. And I think that when you look at the offense, it is what it is. But there are certain things that I believe you can do from a personnel grouping standpoint and incorporate other players in that kind of add some variance. And Will Shipley would be one of them. And you mentioned Tank Bigsby. I talked to Tank Friday.
Okay.
And, really I always enjoy my conversations with him. But I was talking to him about his decisiveness as a runner. Where was that derived from? And he kind of creates his own holes. And he said, sometimes I watch film and I don't even know how I did some of that stuff. So I think he's somebody that you can give 7-8 carries a game.
That's the number. It's funny you say that. I was talking to someone today about that who works for another team, and I asked him, do you remember your team's scouting report? He goes, yeah. He runs just like he runs now. Choppy, explosive to the outside. He gets a little bit carried away of trying to break everything outside. He's gotten away with it so far because he's on limited carries, but that's what hurt him last year with Jacksonville. But he's such a great contrast to
Barkley.
To Barkley. they got to get him the ball more because, listen, I'm not saying they got to replace Barkley. Obviously, you don't do that. It's ridiculous. But get him more involved because they got to get Andrew more out of the run game.
Yeah, I mean, on paper, this looks to be one of those matchups where it favors the running game. And we've said that now for a number of weeks, and we haven't really seen it manifest. I mean, Saquon Barkley, I think he's on pace, you said it, 1,057 yards.
Brother. I was doing the calculations, like, this can't be right, and I did it 3 times. Like, he's on pace to do almost 1,000 yards less than last year, Andrew. This is sickening.
Wow. And look, to my eye, he looks to be the same guy.
Greg said he thinks he's trying too hard.
That I agree with, but I don't know. I don't think that he lost a step. He runs hard.
Right. Sure.
When holes are there, he's able to kind of accelerate through it, and there's areas of opportunity in pass protection, but he's always been like that. But he doesn't look like he's lost a step. I don't believe
I agree
that.
with you.
I think sometimes he presses a little bit and doesn't necessarily take what's in front of him and tries to hit that home run. But yeah, I mean, they got to continue to lean on him.
All right, let's get to special teams. There's a lot going on here with the win. Jake Elliott had that one great win kick against Detroit. It curved. It was a great kick, but was it a 56 or 58?
56.
56, I thought.
Albright's was 51.
Right, and Albright also missed one.
Yeah.
Elliott's missed some kicks this year, not a lot. He's way better than he was last season, but that's a concern, though. I'm not sure what happened there. And then Braden Mann, if he's not a Pro Bowler, let's just throw out so far he's been phenomenal.
Braden Mann's been outstanding. He put 3 punts inside the 20. And this isn't just this game. Really, since he arrived in Philadelphia, he's provided a spark and helped the team out in a big way in terms of field position. He doesn't get enough credit, but I think he should be an all-pro. I think he should be an all-pro.
Yep, I would agree with that. And then, really, to me, with the punt and kickoff returns. So, kickoff return-wise.
Well, that's where it's interesting because it was Shipley and Gibson.
Yep.
And Tank Bigsby didn't fare well in that area. He's not a natural kick returner. He was kind of shoehorned into that role. So it becomes interesting as to how they choose to navigate that. And you start running out of ideas, running out of options pretty quickly. Britton Covey is a punt returner.
Or A.J. Dillon if they have him active, but yes, he's
A.J. Dillon's not really, I mean, he's done it, but he's not. That's not his forte.
But no, special teams coaches have told me that the one thing you like now with the rules changing.
It's like inside zone.
Well, you also want a power guy because it's more physical because the coverage team is way up there. They like bigger guys. It's actually imperative that Shipley put that mass on you were telling us about.
He did.
All season.
Yeah.
So that's
it would probably have to be Dylan. You start.
I don't know who else you could have.
Darius Cooper has done it in the preseason, and that might be an option. He's already active. He's been active.
Shoulder twice, so we'll see. Yeah.
But he's at least in the mix. He's been active every week. He's
part for the run game.
He's part of the short yardage situation.
Yeah, how about that?
So who knows? That would be the other player that would make some sense.
So there's a lot going on with this game because of injury, and the injury report will be out later tonight. Well, I'm very curious to see who they have listed. Because, Andrew, the one thing that always pains me is when there's a pop-up injury we didn't know about. I'm like, oh, man. If you play fantasy, right?
I don't.
Oh, you don't? I thought you never played?
This is the second year in a row that I haven't
you stopped. Yeah, I'm actually only in one league. I just haven't had any time to do it.
That's the thing with me. I just don't have any time.
Yeah, I used to love doing it, but time is everything. Our time is personal, but... we are at Chicky and Pete's in Malton, New Jersey, by the way. This is the Pro Football Report. Next week, we'll be back at Chicky's on Roosevelt Boulevard. Now, we're hoping to have Will Shipley tonight, but here's what happened. They had a walkthrough that just ended.
So locker room's going on right now.
Yeah, and he would have been here. So we look forward to having Will on a future show. In fact, when we had him on Roosevelt Boulevard, how good was he? It's incredible.
Yeah, that's Will. I've gotten to know him pretty well, so it was just a natural conversation, an extension of our chats in the locker room.
All right, those were the Penworth financial keys to the game. The key to your financial future is Penworth Financial. Call them today at 267-997-4503 or visit penworth.com. All right, this is the Pro Football Report. Adam Caplan and Andrew DiCecco. You're listening to the Pro Football Report on 1490 WBCB 107.3 FM and also seen live at WBCBsports.com. We'll be right back.
Hi, it's Pete from Chicky and Pete's. Do you have a large party of 10, 20, even 50 people? We can't wait to treat you like family at Chicky and Pete's. Forget about deposits or credit card reservations. Making a reservation for your large group is effortless at Chickies and Pete's. Lots of options to celebrate and make your night out unforgettable. Order off the menu or select from food and drink packages, private party rooms available. Make your reservations right now at chickiesandpete's.com. And don't forget, Chicky and Pete's gift cards are the perfect fit for any occasion. Only at Chickies and Pete's.
Your day-to-day life is hectic between having to pick up the kids, make dinner, the countless other tasks that you got to get done. Rob's Automotive and Collision is there to make your life a whole lot easier. Make sure you take advantage of their spacious waiting rooms, the large flat-screen TVs, complimentary coffee and muffins, and free Wi-Fi. So even when you do have to stop, Rob's is there to make you feel right at home. Give Rob's a call today at 215-826-9200 for any of your auto repair needs.
Hey BCWSA customers, this is Tommy Green from the 1993 National League Champion Phillies. My friends at BCWSA are committed to providing us with safe, reliable water and sewer services. They operate state-of-the-art treatment facilities, provide clean drinking water, and make much-needed investments to protect our environment and ensure a sustainable future. Learn how BCWSA's investments help grow and serve our communities. Visit bcwsa.net. BCWSA, prove it.
Hi, it's Pete from Chicky and Pete's, the official sports bar of your world champion Philadelphia Eagles. Go where the players go. Come join us all season for Eagles pep rallies, watch parties, and the best in-game experience anywhere. Ice cold draft beer, world famous food, and fan-friendly fun for every Eagles game. Every Monday night in South Philly, the Jordan Mailata Show, presented by Miller Lite, followed by Chicky and Pete's Players Lounge with a current player, hosted by Ike Reese and Hugh Douglas. Go where the players go. Chickies and Pete's.
We now return to Chickies and Pete's for the Pro Football Report presented by BCWSA. Once again, here are your hosts from Inside the Birds, Adam Caplan and Andrew DiCecco.
Yeah, why not?
All right, everyone, welcome back to the Pro Football Report, presented by BCWSA, right here on 1490 WBCB and 107.3 FM, and also seen live at WBCBsports.com. It's Adam Caplan and Andrew DiCecco from Inside the Birds. Andrew, next week will be at Chicky and Pete's on Roosevelt Boulevard in the great Northeast. Hope to see everybody there. We enjoy being here at Chicky and Pete's in Marlton, New Jersey. This place is a super restaurant. This is one of the biggest sports bars I've ever been in, to be honest with you. And I've traveled across the United States. Don't forget, there's an outside portion to this, which I'd love to be at when it's warmer.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
But, Andrew, we're glad to be here. And it's a short week, 3 o'clock on Friday. And I love Fangio, so let's get to it, okay? Vic Fangio today, give us the Cliff Notes version of what Vic said.
Well, I mean, he mentioned Sidney Brown and what he's done behind the scenes, staying in tune in the meetings, and more so from an intangible standpoint. And he said he's looking forward to seeing what he can do. Confirmed that he's going to be the starter in place of Makuba. Mentioned Cooper DeJean playing outside. He wasn't surprised that he struggled a little bit. He said, look, they got 2 good players at wide receiver, 2 top-notch receivers, and that's kind of the way that it goes. Said that he thought he had tight coverage around the catch point, and he talked about what did he talk about? The penalty, about subbing. I have to go back and read my quote for that, but it's on my X account. And he talked about Michael Carter and that he can play safety. He's been their 4th safety for the past few weeks, and cited what he likes about him. So I think that's a player that's going to have a big role out of necessity, of course, but I think he's going to kind of carve out a role when everyone's even healthy, because it seems to me that Vic Fangio is intrigued with what he has there. Smart football player, has played a lot of football, and it's that Avonte Maddox-like versatility that he has that I think is going to lend itself to carving out a more substantial role.
Let's not forget, he as of one point, one of the highest paid nickels in the National Football League, Michael Carter. So it's interesting. So when the trade happened, I called Jeff. I said, hey, I'm hearing they're going to play him at safety in addition to nickel. And he goes, really? Yeah, their thinking was, based on his versatility, which you just talked about, not a cornerback. He's a nickel who they thought could play safety because he played in college at Duke. And although the Jets rarely played him at safety because they moved him immediately to nickel, Eagles thought he can do it because he's done it in the past. And talk about coming in handy with all of a sudden, you just never know when injuries are going to happen. And you better have that versatility. I'm going to tell you a quick story. So I don't know what year it was now. I know Maddox was drafted in 2018, but remember, so Maddox was drafted to be a nickel, right? So they had a slew of safety injuries, and Jeff and I, we couldn't get the intel on what they were going to do, move to safety, so we guessed. It could have been 4 players. We both got it wrong. We didn't think Maddox. He never played before. See, this is about practice, and I know, because, what, you get 10 minutes to watch now, 15?
Yeah, about that.
So it's not like don't want to show you. Sometimes unless you ask someone inside the building, you're not going to know. And we were like, and I think they might have played Tennessee that first week, if my memory serves me correctly.
What year was this?
19 or 20, I don't remember.
Oh, I was going to say 2018. I remember they had
Well,
Corey
that's when he was
Grant,
drafted,
and
right,
he
that
was
was
drafted. He played
right.
some safety in that game.
And
that was the Pickett defense.
I remember, yes, okay. I think was it the Kenny, what was the great receiver from Rutgers? Britt?
Well, Kenny Britt was way earlier. That was like 2008.
Well, someone got it might have been Corey Davis.
Yeah, there was Corey Davis.
And the Pickett fence game, but I just remember we were like, wow, they're moving him to safety. We were at training camp. We never saw that. So what happens sometimes is coaches will tell you, we got to do what we got to do. Like, we're not worried about what the fans think or the media thinks. It's like when Fangio moved Bond to backer. He never played it before, really. He's like, I saw some stuff on tape that showed he could probably do it, but who knew he'd be this good?
Traits.
Right, exactly. There's something, and you have to have intelligence. And Avante has that. You also have to have someone who's a willing learner and is willing to do it. Because it's going to be interesting to see getting over to Cooper DeJean. At some point, this is only year 2, he could be paid after year 3. Jeff brought this up when Vic surprised us. Because, when he was drafted, we said the belief in the building was he's only a corner. And then he was behind because of a hamstring injury. And Vic's put him at nickel, and he was so good, he didn't move him back until he decided in base. I don't know if Vic really knows what his position is in the future. What are your thoughts on him? Let's talk about this.
Yeah.
What's his position? What do you think?
For Cooper?
Past the season.
I view him as a nickel or a safety. I scouted him as a safety.
Really?
Yeah, with nickel versatility. That's not to say he can't play on the outside because he's a tremendous athlete, has good length, and he's competitive. I think he can do it with more reps, but I kind of just viewed him the way that he plays and being able to tackle and blitz and all these things. I think to put him on the outside would be a disservice if you're primarily having him on the boundary. But I thought that there was other things that he can do. But to go back real quickly to the safety position in general,
yes.
I want to make this very clear to those listening. In Vic's defense, to be a safety or a linebacker requires considerable responsibility. You have to have a high IQ, you have to be versatile, and you have to be able to process things and get guys lined up. So Reed Blankenship is going to be instrumental in this game if he's able to go, which if you're listening to what Vic had to say earlier, it seems like he's going to be.
Yeah, and that would be huge because that changes everything. If he's not available, it's a major problem. He literally sets everything up.
Yeah,
He
exactly.
is so smart. This is what's so funny about Blankenship. I think he was a 5-year starter at MTSU.
He was.
Okay? I get he's not fast. So what? It doesn't make him draftable? How bad could his tape been?
You should see how many tackles he had. He may have had 500 tackles in college.
These NFL teams, Andrew, it's ridiculous. It's bad scouting. And by the way, I'm going to give you our Patreon members know this. He was on a secondary list. He went on his UDFA. They ran out of safety, so they went to another list. He was the guy, and whoever liked him, I don't even know who has that area. Thank goodness for their sake. But sometimes you get kind of lucky, and this kid, he deserves a better. He got a 1-year extension a couple years ago as a token of appreciation. It wasn't a very good deal. He needs to get paid. He's a very good football player.
Very good football player. I think he's a little undervalued in this city even, but they have some difficult decisions to make, and we're not there yet, but sure. Jalen Phillips, Reed Blankenship, N'Kobe Dean.
Jordan Davis.
They don't
have to, but they can.
They can. They're going to have to extend Jalen Carter. Nolan Smith. They're going to have to start considering.
I'd be shocked if that happened, based on Jalen Phillips right now. Now, I know the last game wasn't good, but he's built like granite. He's everything you want. Knock on wood, he stays healthy. Played for Fangio before. Super high character. He's like, and I was talking to former Eagles president Joe Banner today about this. The fact that Howie only gave him a third rounder, I get he's in the final of his deal and he's had an injury history. It's so hard to get edge rushers, Andrew.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, they went from having major edge rush problems in depth to, wow, they have too much depth. Like, how does that happen?
Well, it's a good problem to have because
sure.
at one point they had 7 edge rushers on the roster, and then they were dwindled down to about 3,
Right.
and we were wondering how they were going to line up. So, I think ideally Vic Fangio likes to keep a limited pass rush group. He mentioned before he once went through a season with 3
2012
with 3 edge rushers with the 49ers.
Yep.
And I mean, Josh Uche, who's played
By the
well.
way, they burned out. I could tell you, I'm going to give you a nugget here. They thought internally, back in after that season, they thought one of the problems that happened was, in that Super Bowl, was that they were so gassed. Now, you'd have to ask Fangio. I don't know what the thinking was back then. And Jim Harbaugh, I just don't know what their thinking was. I know Vic is brilliant, obviously, but they thought that they were a little bit tired. Now, there's no reason you can't use that excuse now. They're so deep at edge. BG,
He played 8 snaps.
I know, that's what I was getting. You just don't know how many. Do they really need him to play at this point? Maybe, maybe not. It's great to have a veteran presence. He's been there, done that, Super Bowl winner. And obviously it's insurance, but he could play inside and nickel.
He had a couple reps.
I know, that's why I brought it up. By the way, when they started doing that with Schwartzy, holy smokes, that took his career to another level. So let's get to the Bears here. We haven't really talked about enough. What are your thoughts about the Bears who have won 4 in a row and 8 out of 9? What are your thoughts of this football team?
Yeah, they have the potential to be an electric offense. I'm a big fan of Caleb Williams. I like the receiving core with DJ Moore, who might be one of the more underrated wide receivers in the NFL. Yeah. They have Rome Odunze. They have Luther Burden III out of Missouri. He's an explosive player. They also have Olamide Zaccheaus there. But I think given the matchup and given where the Eagles are hurt this week and deficient on the back end, this sets up to be a big Colston Loveland, their tight end out of Michigan, and they also have Cole Kmet, who was their starter. So they have the 2 tight ends
that are
available to kind of work the intermediary
levels.
levels.
A lot of talent, brother.
Yeah, it's a heck of a lot of talent
Swift
that you have to account
game.
for. Yeah, I forgot. That's not even to account for DeAndre Swift and Kyle Monangai, so they have the Thunder and Lightning there. I like their offense. Defensively, you can get them. You can get them, but it's not that simple because the Eagles' offense is sort of in disarray right now. They don't really have a lot of consistency to hang their hat on, but this has to be a game where you get off to a fast start because the Bears can put up points.
Yeah, so, Andrew, when I look at this game, the point spread was 7? It's ridiculous. To me, Andrew, I would have the Eagles, I put a personal line on games I'd look at, it would be 3.5. Same record. Bears are hot as heck. They've shown they can win on the road. Ben Johnson has done a phenomenal job. Interesting story. So Ben Johnson is a super type A. What that means is he's got a temper, puts up with nothing. He coaches his players hard and his coaches hard. So some of the lines told me it won't be long to see if it's going to work because he won't put up with anything. Either he'll get quick buy-in or no one will buy in. They've had a tremendous buy-in.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he's – look, you got to give Ryan Poles, the GM from Boston College, his respect. He's put together a good roster. I think defensively, I totally agree with you. They can get Eagles could get him. But I'm telling you right now, Patullo and Sirianni have to get Hurts off to a good start. Get him in a rhythm. Don't skip steps. That's what happened. That is, to me, the blueprint. Get it out of his hands quickly and get him confident.
I agree. And homecoming for former Eagles safety C.J. Gardner-Johnson. He's going to have a lot of juice.
Oh, that's right.
And I would not be surprised if they find a way to turn him loose as a blitzer.
And they know him. And does he have 3 sacks?
3.
I think his first 2 games.
Yeah.
First 2 or 3. It's absolutely insane.
He's going to be bouncing around.
All right, everyone. This is the Pro Football Report on WBCB, presented by BCWSA on 1490 WBCB and 107.3 FM. Also seen live at WBCBsports.com. And we are live here at Chicken Pete's in Marlton, New Jersey. Andrew DiCecco and I, and we are from Inside the Birds, by the way. Check out all of Andrew's great content on our website, InsideTheBirds.com. And on all of our podcasting platforms. We've got the Daily DiCecco, all of his reports. By the way, I did an injury report today, which you could actually download if you want it on YouTube and on Pod. But all right, so Andrew and I will see you next week on Roosevelt Boulevard. We love our sponsors. We thank everyone, and we will see you next week.